Here.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
ready.
All right.
Born ready, bud.
Welcome to the Wide World of Motorsports podcast here, their second live edition. This is
Live.
season 4,
Live to the
episode
world.
19,
I can say anything and you can't edit it. Is that what you're saying?
potentially. We're talking
Oh,
anything across the wide world of motorsports, bringing you news from the track to your community. You can reach us on social media at the WWOMS and on your favorite streaming platform, the Wide World of Motorsports podcast. You can also check out our website, the Wide World of Motorsports podcast .wordpress.com. We're too cheap to get rid of the word .wordpress, so we'll make you type out the extra few letters and whatnot. Um,
sorry. Not sorry.
and we also got lots of stuff on YouTube as well with our esports
Mm-hmm.
streaming, and as well as our other podcasts and our live. We're trying to start streaming live from our YouTube and whatnot.
And we're
Trying
gonna
to do some more of
compete
that.
in the Daytona 24 hour in 2022. So that's gonna be on there.
Coming up in about a month's time ish
Yeah.
for it's interesting. I was thinking earlier today that the Wide World of Motorsports is never you know what, like, we are we gonna ever really have a true off season, because in the Wide World of Motorsports it just seems like there's only, like, there's a few weeks apart in December and January. It's like, yeah, you got a couple weeks. So F1,
hmm
we just had a couple weeks ago. We said the snowball last weekend, F1 this weekend, F1,
Yep.
and then a couple weeks you'll get the Chili Bowl, right? And then
Yep.
next thing you know, there is testing
The
at
roar.
Daytona. There's the roar, obviously, with both NASCAR, and then you get the
Cup series.
IMSA, and then
IMSA series. Sorry. Yeah.
you're there. Then you're looking at the Rolex, and then your next thing you know, you're at the Clash, and then so it's like, you know what? I don't think it really ever ends, because, like, I always thought that there would be some sort of off time, and really there isn't. It's racing
No.
all the time, and maybe that was another thing too. Maybe we just thought that it ends, but it never ends.
It never ends. My wife's
um,
dismay.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Sorry,
um,
honey. You get about 3 weeks where there's no racing.
hey, you
But
know
oh
what
well.
though? You gotta get her into it. That's um,
Actually, you know what? I'll give her props. She knows. She knows more about racing than some guys I know that watch racing. Um, so she's grown up with it. With my father-in-law, big Formula One guy, IMSA guy, and stuff like that. She's always kind of listened to little bit of it, and then with me talking NASCAR and IMSA and shit like that. She's got a good education in auto racing.
sorry for the language, folks. So you
Oh,
know what though?
sorry.
You gotta make sure that the wife is into the motorsports. I think that's a key, probably for some of our listeners. That's obviously a key to success in life. Is to
Sometimes.
yeah, maybe you don't want them at the track. I'm sure there's lots of our listeners will say that they would rather just be
hmm
alone at the track. But um, there's a lot to process if you're new from stuff. If
hmm
maybe it also, there's a lot to try to get interest for, because sometimes some things just click for you, and then sometimes you just go, I don't get this. And I really do understand why, because for the longest time I wasn't into F1.
I was just gonna say, we're like you in F1 right now.
Yeah. And that, I watched more F1 races ever this season, and I think there was a couple of different aspects that came into play. A lot had to do with it, and I think so for sports, any sports, I try to
hmm
find something where maybe I find something in relation to my life. So maybe they're from the same country or the same background, or maybe even the same city. Jamal Murray, like in the Denver Nuggets. I don't like the Denver Nuggets, but I hope that they do good, because Jamal Murray is from my hood. So when I watch basketball or I watch Sports Center, I go, oh, that's good. The Nuggets did good, or something like that. Or
Mm-hmm.
even, I look to my background, like I'm Dutch, so I cheer for the Dutch sports team. I cheer for, obviously other than Canada too. Like I cheer for whatever Canadian teams I can. In F1,
Right.
if you're a Canadian, you know, um, there's some tough races.
Yep. That's for sure.
There's
It's
some tough
unfortunate,
races.
really.
Even going to today, for example. We'll get to that. But
Hmm.
so from my perspective, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that I can relate to, and that was something that I always liked Stroll. I always liked watching
Stroll.
him, and I just want to, you know what? When it comes to F1, I just want to say the words weird, because you hear them like controversy or whatever. I just kind of want to go. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I have to say it different. Like
Right.
I could go Maximilian Verstappen or whatever they call him in Holland. I could do the Verstappen or however they say it. I can't even speak Dutch, but I could go
Yeah,
all
I
out
don't know how to
with the
say it in
names.
Dutch.
Well, it's Maximilian. That's
Is
his.
it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start calling him Maximilian.
Come Maximilian.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Fitting.
so that was my in, because obviously with Max. So Max is a young driver.
Yeah.
He's 24,
Hmm.
and I didn't
Yep.
even have to look that up, folks.
Hmm.
Now I'm looking it up. So so yeah, he is a fresh face, and I think with
Yep.
his father, former Formula One driver Jos Verstappen. Um, yeah, he didn't even, he's got racing in his blood, even though he got a couple of he got a kart championship at some point in his life.
Well, it's
Um,
funny that it's in his blood because Yoss wasn't that good. I mean,
right.
Yoss's claim to fame really is uh, a pit lane fire that was incredible. It's one of the most. If you see the photo of it, it's one of the most kind of famous photos in Formula One where they're doing the pit stop and
I should
you
pull
see
this up.
the you should pull it up. The Jamie, pull this
I'm
up.
gonna pull this shit up.
Um, uh, you see the wheel gun guy like falling out of a ball of fire. It's pretty wild.
Oh,
So the guy who took the photo, he was standing there and it blew up like when it engulfed like that, and he fell backwards. But being a photographer, he just kept hitting the button of his camera and he had no idea what pictures he was taking.
I would
And
probably do the same thing.
so anyway, so then he got home and developed
Wait, say that
his
again. So he was just taking pictures at fire. Like he was just going random
no,
pictures. He didn't know he was taking.
so yeah, he's looking at it should be the side profile of the car. The mechanic is engulfed in flames. It's
Yeah, I
like
think I got
Benetton,
that
like the
one up right here.
yeah, it's like guys wearing like blue and green overalls, something like that.
Yes.
Yellow, maybe there's yellow.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I guess the cameraman was standing there taking pictures of the pit stop, and then whatever happened,
Oh.
it erupted, and like anything that erupts, especially a big fireball like that, the heat, everything would just might push you back or startle you to fall back. And the photographer says, as he fell backwards or got pushed backwards, kind of maybe by the force, he just kept hitting the button. Right, there wasn't. I don't know if maybe he just held the trigger down. I don't know if in that year cameras did that. I don't. But he just said he didn't know he took the photo until
That's
he got home and
crazy.
developed. Like he didn't know
Oh,
what he
developed
was
too. That's
taking.
right.
He just knew he was getting shots
No
of it.
digital photos back then, folks. Wow.
Yeah, no digital. So he couldn't
From
go
my
back and look and
perspective, that's a
see
crazy thought. Wow.
what that he
Well,
just
because when
kept
I
taking
take
the photo.
photos, and like I'm always waiting for something like that to happen one day, like where a wreck just
Mm,
happens in front of you, and you're taking a photo of something else anyway, and then something just happens. Wow.
happens.
And
Yeah.
we're Joe Rogan podcasting it now. We're pulling this up on the stream so our viewers can see it. If you're listening, you can go to our YouTube and watch it. But yeah, these are some, I've seen the one photo of the one guy here, the one we have pulled up. Um, but wow, yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely.
it's pretty wild there.
I'm sure that won awards of some sort. Definitely.
Oh,
Those suits
I don't
too,
know. Yeah.
man. Like those, like they're legit. Like they have
Oh yeah,
definitely
that was
saved some
they
people's
saved those
asses.
guys' lives for sure.
They've actually pulled their asses out of the fire.
Yeah.
These that is crazy talk.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's Yoss's um
Joss, whatever.
Yoss
Yas, yeah, it's
Verstappen. That's
Yas.
his real claim to fame, I think. And then, breeding like the funny thing is the way Max I mean this is kind of part of my issue with his attitude that it's not him, it's not his fault. Is this he's been told he's the golden child from the very beginning, and because he was very good, his dad was really good with him, and and there's no taking anything away from Max just driving. I mean, he's no doubt he's a stellar kid behind the wheel. Um, I just think that they needed to calm him down a little bit. Like, there's just been some pretty, I don't know.
So he got his first win in 2016, and he's won 20 races since then. 60 podiums, 13 pole positions, 16 fastest lap. He obviously, out of all the Dutch drivers, he's no doubt the best now. Obviously, with his championship, and
Well, he's the only Dutch driver to win a Formula One
yeah,
championship.
and it's official now because as of we're recording now, the protests from Mercedes did not go through. The
Well,
first and second protests
right,
were
this one didn't go through. So we have to, they can appeal that this race stewards didn't want to see their information.
oh sure,
So
yeah
like it can go further on. I mean,
yeah.
Christian Horner even said that he's like, if they want to go to all the way through court with this, and let's go
I want to
type of
find
thing.
that
Like
tweet from
they'll do it.
Mercedes where they said they were going into the weekend to race it out to win it on the track, and and they were the only. And I am new to this, so
Mm.
obviously Wallace, I'm opening up for you to school me on this, obviously, but
I'll
because
do
when
my best.
Wallace gets real intense with his road racing etiquette and F1 etiquette shit, but so
F1
this
etiquette.
I
Yeah.
just I it's basically a lawyer, a barrister. But
Yeah.
if Mercedes came to the track with basically a lawyer
Yeah.
to protest, but Red Bull didn't. Now I'm new to that, but for me, I'm obviously like, for first of all, and as Kenny Wallace said on Twitter, he was like this is nuts. Like these guys bring lawyers to the race to argue this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
wow.
honestly, in my opinion, that's petulant. Like just go into the race and race. You know what I mean? You don't need to bring a lawyer to the track. I will say that is a little bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But like I can't believe they did that. It's crazy. I
Well, you know
mean,
what? There was a lot of like even, or as they say, controversy. Even going back from last week when there was, the calls of Max and Lewis running each other wide. This is obviously not the first time during the season that was an issue, them running each other wide off the track, and when they to Jeddah last week, Jeddah,
mhm.
yeah, and then that was
Yep.
our first race there, and that was good for Lewis to be able to tie it up to go
Yep.
into virtual tie. Like it was like 283.5 or something like that. I forget what it was. They were dead split tied.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it was 269.5.
but the season was already full of the controversy, and it would make sense because it was heading to that, and like it was definitely one of those situations where it had to have been one of those seasons where this is going to come down to the final lap, but no one saw that coming.
Yeah, because
Verstappen and Lewis put
it
on a show.
hasn't happened in. I mean, it hasn't happened in Formula One.
In 71 years tied going into a race
Okay,
since
there you go. I was gonna say ever. What year then?
so Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton coming into that race on level points happened once before in its 71-year history. Let's get that correct. With Emerson Fittipaldi and Clay Regazzoni when they went into
Yeah, Clay Regazzoni.
1974 final race. It was a winner take all race. And that race did not disappoint. And apparently, there was another close race sometime in the 2000s, like 2006 as well. It came down to a last lap battle, or one of those
It
years.
did with Vettel. It was
Right?
for
Yeah.
Vettel and Massa, and Vettel. It was at Sao Paulo, and Vettel spun,
Ooh.
and Massa won. But coming a little, and Massa won the race, I think, to win the championship. And coming through the last corner of the racetrack, Vettel passed the place. He needed one more position to get enough points, and he won by 1 point.
Well,
Yeah, it was crazy.
so this seems like a thing that
Actually, no, was it
happens,
Massa? Or, yeah,
but it seems just like a thing that obviously it doesn't happen much, and the commentators were saying that as well.
no,
And so I saw that as like, wow, this was probably. I was like, I couldn't believe what I saw, but it was all throughout the race, even from the beginning of the race. Hamilton looked like
yeah,
he had that, and he definitely didn't look like it. He had that
it wasn't for the last restart. He probably would have won the race
because Latifi
because
could thank Canada for hooking up
blame
Holland again.
Canada, blame
Well, in a way,
Canada.
we helped them out again, but the
I mean, people will. You know what though? You know what's so funny about that is that people say that David Starr did the same thing for Kyle Larson, as you could say Latifi did for Max Verstappen.
I've seen a lot of in the Cup world and the NASCAR world for their reactions. There's a lot. I've seen tons of comparisons, and I think that's a good thing too. We'll get to that why F1's so good, but for just from the beginning of the race, uh, it was apparently lap one, turn six. Verstappen closed in and tried to go onto the inside of Hamilton, but it was a little too late. Um, he timed his braking enough where he was able to make the corner and stay on track, but Hamilton forced him wide, and Hamilton cut the corner, and then it came to it was confirmed from the stewards on lap three there was no investigation for that. So there was Hamilton got almost in a risky situation there. And it
Mm.
came to a tire situation for Stappen. He was struggling on his soft tires, and there was a couple of pit stops and strategy points that came into play during that race, and a couple of virtual safety cars coming in. But at the end, it looked like it was Hamilton's. He was out front, and Max was trying to shave some time off, but he just couldn't make it. And it was interesting because during the
Hmm.
race, they were even saying we're going to need something from the racing gods, and like I watched that happen, like the racing gods,
Right.
like it's that was I feel I don't know I don't see it like it was
Yeah.
it was
Well,
a historic race, and it's like wow I saw that like
yeah. It's funny because he didn't. You're saying like he didn't have that pace. They were saying that he didn't have that pace in the race, and he only got. I said to you because you and I were talking about qualifying because you to me Max got pole, and then I watched it and I was like, yeah, well he only got pole because he got a toe from Perez, right? So Red Bull really actually didn't have the pace this weekend. Um, and that last restart and the fact that he was on fresher tires um, made a big difference for Max.
so when Latifi spun it looked like there
Hmm.
was like it was a because he hit the curb or he had a tire going down or something, so it was legitimate. Like I wouldn't question what
No,
happened
I'm
there.
just joking.
No, no, no. I know, I know, I know. I'm just saying, just from to to kind of go into like what the cleanup situation was like. You saw them bring out that, I thought they just imagine how close that was, how quick they were enough to where it came down to a last lap situation, because if it took them a little bit
Mhm.
longer, it would not that have been the end of the race.
Yeah, I would the race would have ended under safety car
So, and I thought they were
because
taking
they
too
got the
long.
green. They got the green on the white lap. So this
Yeah.
is what I was saying to you earlier, right? You're saying about Drive to Survive on Netflix, and I was telling you about a buddy of mine who, messaged me and said, "Hey, I just watched Drive to Survive. I'm going to start watching Formula One next year." And I said, "Hey, just don't expect what you watched on Netflix, because that got all the ins and outs, into the deep crevices of what the sport is, and the people in it. So just know that just by watching a race every Sunday, you're not going to get that." And so uh, now there's so much drama, and it's almost like TV drama. You know what I mean? Like a TV show drama, in the racing. You feel like, well, did they, get your tinfoil hats out? Um, like, did they make the cleanup? Did they get a one lap shootout for the championship?
Well, also remember that F1 ended up
Would they?
deciding to pull up those cars, the lap cars, and they said originally that they weren't. And then even on TV,
Hmm.
you could hear, because that's how F1 and Sky Sports all broadcasts it, is you can hear they
Yep.
have the voice and the cameras on the guys protesting. You could hear the one team constructor ask the race steward, like, what's going on here? You said you were going to do this. Come on. And the race steward start like,
Yeah.
oh, just give me a second, Mick, or whatever. Is you gotta let me. And then all of a sudden, like a minute later, all the cars are going for it. And I'm like, what? It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And
Michael
then you hear,
Massey has not done a good job. He has not done a good job this year. We lost Charlie Whiting, just before, was it last year or just before Australia this year? I can't remember, and I feel really bad for that. But he was the race steward forever, and he was really tough. He didn't, he didn't call Charlie like Toto or Christian do. And you sure as hell didn't broadcast it. That was private stuff that went on back in there. And now they're showing all that
right.
stuff, and I don't like any of it.
Well, and so it seemed as though, because then you hear Buddy freak out after they pull the cars forward, and you hear Lewis. It's all like, I'm not saying it's all set up, but I'm saying in the words, it is all set up. Like everything is
Mm,
provided to you to hear all this all at once now,
yeah, yeah.
and it is.
Hmm.
When I'm watching F1, I'm looking over and like, I wish this was in. I kind of wish Cup had this or NASCAR had this, but um, maybe not. And then when you, like your point there, when you say a lot of that stuff just doesn't need to really be aired, or and that maybe it's just because there's just no reason to, but like that, it was
Well, like
definitely dramatic.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Like people are gonna that's drama. That's gonna make people interested in it. People want to hear, what's said. But uh, I know, like the fact that the team principals can just call up. I know they can call up race control and lodge a complaint. I never knew they had a direct line to the race steward,
Right.
my race director, Michael Massey. That's that's ridiculous. I don't think
It's
Charlie ever
interesting
would let
approach.
that slide. Could you imagine Mike Helton?
Right.
One of the crew chief called Mike Helton, says, that's a bad call. Like, Mike Helton, tear your dick off. Like,
um
sorry.
well, I like that. It's
You know what I
I kind of
mean?
like that aspect of it. It for me, it's the presentation is one side of it, and and they definitely cover it there, whether or not it's, if you agree with them airing it or not. It's definitely for the entertainment factor, and they come through with it because that last lap you heard you got to see and hear everything. Um, and that was so there was another controversy. So after those cars got pulled forward, then there
Hmm.
was Lewis is in one of the few final turns. Lewis is like he's letting the pace car go to the point where you couldn't even see the pace car anymore. He was gone, and I guess they
Hmm.
got it. I don't know if that's what they got to do, but I think you can also stick up to
Yeah,
the pace
they do.
car. But
You could if you wanted to, but they don't because
right,
they like to get a run.
and
They once the pace car. It's not a pace car actually.
a
It's a
safety
safety
car.
car.
Yeah,
Once the race starts, it is. It's a safety
yeah,
car.
yeah.
Once the safety car hits the pits, they're free to go. They can't go unless the car is in the pit lane
Right,
because for safety. And so
hence
once that
safety
car
car.
goes in, and safety car, once they go in, they go. So he'll like Lewis will hold them back. Not just Lewis, any leader will hold them back. It's all the strategy. It's all the game, right? It's like we do on oval racing, right?
But
You
it
wait
drives me
till
nuts. And Lewis or Max was showing that because he went right side by side with him, and they thought that his nose
yeah,
went forward. But even if it did go a little bit forward at one point, I forgot. Don't know what turn it is, but he ends up
yeah,
he ends up basically maybe getting a little bit of a one of his wings got his front wings got a little ahead, but ultimately though Lewis had lots of car space, like he had a few car lengths in front of him when they started, so there wasn't any
yeah.
question
But it
there.
no, but it's Lewis. Lewis is the leader.
Yeah, of course that's how
Okay,
it works.
sorry.
Yeah,
Let me take. I don't want to. The
the
leader
leader is the leader.
is the leader, and the leader gets to go when the leader wants to go because it's his race, and that's the rule. Whether it be Max,
Yeah,
Lewis, Kimmy, uh, Sonoda,
Senna,
whatever,
no,
they
Earnhardt,
get to
no.
Earnhardt, anybody, they get to they get the choice to go when they want. So it's not like they're trying to get around to pit lane before they get lapped by the leader. Um,
No.
you know, it's if I don't know.
But like either way, he's antsy. You're antsy to go because I'm sure you would have been in that position. You would
Sure.
understand from the our e racing side of things. Like guy wants to
Oh, of
go,
course, 100%.
and but that was another thing that
And that's
was
what he's trying to do.
requested to be reviewed was that move too. That was the second thing,
Hmm.
and and it was all cleared as of just a few hours ago. He's officially the world
Yeah.
champion. So but you're right, I bet you they will continue
It
on to this will be you'll hear about this for a little bit.
they'll protest it if they truly believe they have grounds for a proper protest, then they will. But
Well, they had
they
a
won't
clean
make
finish, and I that's what I like what it
well,
came
that's what I
down
mean.
to is that
Like,
um you obviously will get to that. What you were telling me earlier is you thought it was a boring finish. I thought there was a couple points where Lewis almost got him on this. There was a second straight that Lewis almost got him on after Max passed him,
yeah,
and
but
that was
so
exciting. And Max was weaving a bit, and they said stop doing that. Then he
yes,
protected
because you're
his
not allowed to
left
do that.
driver's left, which if he opened the door, I think that for Lewis to go on driver's left, that probably would have salted me. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe Max would have tried to get him again on that second straight, but
Of course you would have. Yeah,
that would have been a great TV either way.
yeah. I so the reason why I thought the last lap, although a little bit exciting, I didn't find it overly exciting, is because you kind of already, I kind of already knew what was going to happen. Max had fresher tires. Uh,
Well, it came very quick though.
He's in, yeah, but he's got fresher tires and he's behind him. He got a massive tow out of turn one up through the S's there. There used to be a left and then a right before the hairpin to go up the main straightaway, but they changed it for this year, so they come out of that and they just run down to the hairpin. Um, and Max got him right there. I thought Max was going to try and get him the at the
They
end
got
of the
real
straightaway.
close a couple points
Um,
too.
but I mean, and there was no DRS. Like if they would have had DRS enabled, Lewis might have. I would have bet Lewis would have passed him on the
Right.
second
Oh yeah.
straightaway. But once once they got to the end of that second straightaway, you could tell Max was gone. Lewis,
Well,
uh, looks like Lewis just gave up.
there was a lot
And
to
he
deal
couldn't
with
catch him.
all at once because they were Lewis was in a position where they didn't want to box because they knew that they didn't want to lose the track position because at that point there was going to be lap cars behind him. There may have been some space.
Hmm.
Red Bull, or yeah, it was Red Bull. They brought in Perez, right?
Yep.
And they
Yep.
brought him in because he was already a lap down. So they thought because they were going to be racing lap cars, that was one less car for Max. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, then maybe Lewis had a little bit of a chance, and then all of a sudden things escalate even more quickly. Max gets his tires, and then frickin' uh, everyone gets pulled forward, and then now all of a sudden they got one more lap to do. Like, we're wrapping our heads around a one on one, you know, Lewis versus Max. Like, wow, like we're gonna see
Hmm.
something here. And things happen quick, and I think like out of
Yeah.
Lewis, man, like that, like it went from one level to like way higher, way quick for him. For anybody, that would have been tough. It could have been any other driver in that situation. Things just got
Right.
everything just got out of hand fast. Things escalated quickly. It was intense.
Yeah. Nah, it was a good season for Formula One. People were annoyed that Mercedes was running away with everything. And Red Bull did what they were supposed to do, and
And
they
Honda as
kept
well with
and Honda as well, and they kept Mercedes honest and eventually beat them. And uh, that's great. That's really
oh
good
man,
for the
yeah.
sport. It's good for the team. It makes you. It's nice because that means that team's probably going to stick around, right? When a team wins a championship, it rarely loses unless it's in IMSA because that's weird. Um, but
Carlos Sainz
you
with the
know what?
final podium spot, eh? And ahead of
Yeah,
Yuki
which is
Tsunoda,
really
which
good,
is um
which is big.
it's a couple there
Got
was another driver too up there that for Ferrari that ended up,
Leclerc
yeah, he ended up doing better, or was it his teammate? He ended up becoming
signed.
the yes, that's yeah. He ended up kind of becoming the guy, because everyone
Sainz
was
has more
putting in the
experience.
right.
Sainz has more experience in Formula One than Leclerc. Leclerc is really good. He's I I I feel like so Leclerc learned in a car that was cheating, and then they got Ferrari got
Oh
caught
yikes!
cheating, um, and they had a huge punishment for the next year, um, which I don't think anybody knows because they kept it all quiet. But I think what was said was that they got like basically a horsepower energy penalty or something to do with the engine, and they were down like I don't know, not 100 horsepower, but they're down horsepower on everybody else, so that's why they weren't good. So, and then effectively the car was too draggy. That's what made them slow, because they had more horsepower to push the car with more downforce through the air. But anyways,
It was a good F1
so
race. It was good to and for some insight here as a new fan, from a NASCAR point of view. I remember watching the 2012 Phoenix race, and
mm,
Gordon and Boyer, and I was like, I'm watching this. I can't miss one of these, even if
yeah,
if it's on in the side screen or the background, or if I'm snoozing with it. I gotta make sure I do every race next season. Just like how I am gonna try to go to as many races as I can for that Pintys schedule next season.
yes, me as I as well. Yeah, they released that last week, and all good tracks, all good things.
Especially the TBD. which when we asked our followers on the Facebook page, the NASCAR Pintys series page, when we
Hmm.
asked some people there, it's interesting. I was like, hey, what do you? First, we'll go through the schedule here, but there's a TBD, to
Yeah.
be determined on this, which is, I think it's cool. But so we're
You know what?
starting
There's a
off.
lot of he is the most famous driver, TBD, in sports car racing, and it's great to see that he's got a track named after him.
In Canada somewhere, because they're giving out hints, and it's in one of the four provinces they already race at. So um,
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
What do the people think it is?
So we'll go through the first. We'll go through the usual.
Schedule?
Here, so good. I love this because my favorite is returning Honda Indy, but we'll get to that. But so the season will begin off with Sunset,
Yep.
on May 14th in Innisfil, Ontario. Then on May
Yeah.
22nd, CTMP Bowmanville, Ontario for the usual Victoria Speedfest weekend. Victoria
Yeah.
Day Speedfest weekend. June 11th, Chaudière in Vallée Jonction, Quebec. And then that June 25th, that's that TBD, that to be determined. And
Mm-hmm.
then on one of the Pintys, this NASCAR Pintys series social media pages, they kind of gave out a hint. I think they said all this. I don't know. Maybe I misread it or the way I interpreted it, but it might be within the four provinces. I don't know, but maybe it's not. And then there's been some interesting suggestions. Like if I want to, if I my hope for some random reason, because and when I say hope, we got to do the
Hmm.
may like Area 27 has had some more, like it's definitely, I've seen a racing series, like there's some sort of stock car racing series that just runs there, and I saw
Area
that through.
27. Where the hell? Where's that?
Is that British Columbia track?
I have no idea. Never heard of this.
Really?
I don't think so.
Let's pull that up for our fans on so yeah, so it's a racing track in British Columbia, and it's actually, we'll just go to the Wikipedia or wherever that is. But the reason why I know of it, and because there's people that there's not too much information on this track actually, so that's why. But I saw it through Andrew Ranger. He went over there to race a couple of races in some sort of, it's like a sport. I don't know if it's a sportsman series or whatever. They're like just stock cars, but they don't have like any
Hmm.
sponsors on them. It's just like a series. But it's a
Oh
motorsports club
yeah.
track.
Okay. Yeah.
You know
Isn't
a
that like
track,
at an airport or
or
like
it
an
was a
abandoned airport? I think
yeah,
I saw
something
it. They
like
only
that.
did like um. Yeah. Okay. I've heard of it. I didn't know that's what it was. So.
So I don't know. That was a random suggestion. Someone mentioned that'd be cool. There's so there's a couple of tracks that people said maybe out in Newfoundland. Like obviously we're going with, like, what's cool about this is like there's a lot of people are getting into it. Like they're hoping that there's these tracks that will come in. I think is Peterborough. Someone said.
Oh, I hope. I hope that would be
Um,
amazing.
but a track that they haven't raced at is what's potentially coming up. So, what tracks haven't? Because NASCAR used to run at Peterborough.
Hmm.
Like, there's lots of tracks that they've ran at, but there's a couple tracks that have closed too, right? That the NASCAR Pintys used to run at. There's that one out east, and there's that
Hmm.
obviously with Jocasta here, and other than out west, I just don't know. A lot of different opinions out there, and it obviously will be probably it's for sure going to be a separate announcement because the Ashweekend is already on there. So we'll continue with the schedule here with Toronto at exhibition place. So that's another thing too, is to consider is where they were at and where they're going to be at between the next races. There's a lot of time between the June 25th TBD date to the July 15th exhibition place date, because they're going out to Edmonton for July 23rd. So it wouldn't make sense if they were out west for June 25th, and they would be at Quebec before they're like in June 11th. They'd be in Quebec. They'd go to out west June 25th, and then go back
Right.
out to Toronto July 15th. No, so it'll probably be a track that's somewhere on the way or in the area. And not only that, it's easier for some
I
of the teams
wonder.
that are in this. It's easier for the teams to not travel as far. So obviously, preferably, a track that's closer by would be good.
I wonder if they'll go to Kawartha Speedway. So Kawartha Speedway's it's just outside of it's like 10 kilometers away from
I've seen that one pop
Peterborough.
up too.
Kawartha Down. Well, it's inside of a horse track, Kawartha Downs.
Right.
They used to race there, so I'm curious if, like, what was that? They held the last NASCAR Super Series race in 2006 before it went to the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series in '07, and Jason Hathaway picked up his first ever win there, and in 2009, DJ Kennington won there.
Right.
So, I wonder if yeah, and it's a 3/8 mile, so it's not a small track. So that's good too.
Yeah, and they're still
Uh,
open. So
yeah, they're still running
yeah.
there, and the only thing about that track was, from my memory, they only raced on Friday nights because they had the horse racing on Saturdays. So my dad and I always wanted to go to this track, but we never made it because of that, because he couldn't get off work early enough, because Kawartha was about 2 hours away.
June 25th is a Saturday.
Well, there you go. I mean, maybe they'll not have a horse race that weekend. Like, I'm
And
looking
what
at
if
a
they
cool
tie
picture here.
in? Maybe they will. It's probably still too early for them for the horse race season. We could look up their schedule, but who knows? But I
They start
bet
about June.
that would be a cool, just kind of like how when NASCAR Cup goes down to Kentucky, and they kind of tie in the horse racing into the. You know what? That's
Yeah.
always a good angle in. It's
See, like, the track's got, the only problem is it doesn't have a great pit in, pit out. It's kind of goofy looking, but it's a nice, beautiful oval. So the real crappy thing here is that there's no spectator stands. They get all brought in. Like, at CTMP, when they bring the
right.
big orange tractor trailer bleachers, you'll see them in turn 3, and they have them usually in 8 and or yeah 8, 9 for the corrals, or on Victoria Day. So, anyways, that would be really cool. That would be super cool if they went back there.
Well, and if you think about it, because they're in Toronto a few weeks later, but on July
And
15th
well,
back at the
Kawartha is,
exhibition place.
yeah. See,
This is up the highway, but for a lot of teams to raise that car count and keep it up, and for teams to not spend so much on travel, it would definitely help to have another track that's just up the highway.
yeah, really,
Because they're
right?
losing a track up the highway, so they should probably. It'd be good to obviously replace one up the highway, and then I can't wait till going back to the. I'm for sure. I booked all these dates off, the ones that I can go
Yeah.
to. Exhibition place. Oh, I can't wait, man. I love it there. Best road racing there, in my opinion, for Pintys.
Yeah.
July 23rd. Sorry, Mosport. Nothing against them. It's a street circuit, not road course is different. So no diss against Mosport, that's for sure. Yeah, it's different. July 23rd, Edmonton International Raceway, which some other people would say is their favorite circuit. Some of these are mixes. Like, there's some road courses, street. I love it. Street circuits. Yeah, so that's July 23rd in Edmonton. July 27th, Wyant Group Raceway in Saskatoon for a doubleheader. And August 7th, going to Quebec, La Belle de Provence for the Grand Prix
The
de
Belle
Trois
de
Rivières.
France. You should bring that up. You should bring up the. Can you show the schedule on the podcast on YouTube?
Might as well.
So
Might
the
as well.
might as well.
So the folks can see. I'll save the image.
Folks can
It's
see.
like I gotta pull that up because here we go. So we'll just pull it up off of motorsport.com. Shout out to motorsport.com for for that, for their fine information here. Okay, here we go. Got it up. We're here on the screen, folks. So Three Rivers, August 7th. We're going to. I'm gonna try. I really want to go there this year. The WAMS next year. The WAMS needs to go to Three Rivers, and we need to do a stealth camping video, like those dudes on YouTube, because those are
Mm.
freaking awesome.
I would totally
Like
do that.
I'll stealth camp, no problem. Um, and
That's funny. I would totally do that. That'd be fun.
and also, folks, Wallace said he would only do it if it's broke back. So
That's terrible. And canceled.
August 16th at oh, now this will be good for me because this is technically the closest track to where I live, and it'll be an easy jaunt, a 40-minute jaunt. But I'm not like I'd be rushing going there or anything. But August 16th, which is I believe is like a Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll see some dirt racing. Which at one point, folks, was NASCAR was supposed to, that was going to be the legit return to dirt.
Yeah.
But then COVID happened, and then Bristol happened, and then that came out of nowhere that they were going to do the dirt. I feel like, and then, but either way, NASCAR Pintys first go on the dirt. Schweeken Speedway. I'm really looking for that because it's close to home. It'll be
You think
a
Stuart
week
Friesen's gonna be
race.
there?
You know what? I don't know with COVID and stuff. A lot of, and I'm not trying to. This is another podcast another time, but a lot of people are not coming to Canada because of this. It's really strict up here, or it's really bad up here. One of the two. But either way, August 27th, ICAR in Quebec. September 4th, CTMP, Bowmanville. Unfortunately, there won't be trucks with that weekend for the Labor Day.
Yeah,
And then
that's really
September
upsetting.
25th, Delaware gets they get the final race again. I don't think it'll be a twin though. So
It is. It says 120. Which one? No, which one's got the
the
asterisk?
ones that are starred. So I think it's just Wyant Group Raceway.
Oh, I thought I was saying that the one at Delaware. I'm like, what? That'll be intense.
So which one are you? Which one? Like obviously, other than most sport, but
I can't. So
I'm going for Oshweekend, I think, or it's
I'm gonna.
tie between Oshweekend and Exhibition Place.
So I'm going. I will go to the May 8th. I'm gonna go to the May 14th one at Sunset.
Oh, to
'cause
go
that's-
to. Yeah, you
Or
better
what
go
one
to
am I
that
most
one.
excited? What one am I
Excited
most
for.
excited
Yeah.
for? Ooh, I think I'm really excited for them to come back to Toronto at
Yeah.
Exhibition Place.
Because you can see a lot. You can really get around there easily, I think. And it's right
just
in the
cool.
six.
They haven't.
Weather's
Yeah,
good usually, hopefully. After
I'm
a
excited
wicked
to see them
rainstorm.
I'm really excited to see them at Delaware. With all the new improvements Delaware's done, right? They've paved, they've fixed the front
Oh
wall,
yeah, that's right.
they've fixed the pits, they've done a massive amount of work there, and that's awesome. And I'm really excited to see them there. I'm really excited to see them on the dirt. Because we haven't seen them on the dirt.
And
I'm really curious how they're going to run. I'm really excited to see them again running out of province, right? We've spent the last 2 years of them stuck in Ontario. Nothing wrong with that, but it's great to get back out east. Sorry, back out
and
west. And yeah, both actually, yeah, because they're going to Quebec and it'd be great. Oh, yeah, I honestly, there's not a track on there that I'm not excited
I
for,
wish they could
except
race at every track in Canada.
TBD.
That's what I think someone
I'd love
said
to
that
see them
somewhere on the
at.
comments. It's like, why can't they just do them all? Do
I
more. Do
I
a 30 race
I wish they
schedule.
could do. I wish they could do more.
Right, but obviously that's obviously the obvious conversation comes up is that's
So it's
expensive,
it's
you
a 12
know.
race series. Yeah, it's a 12 race series. Um,
Any fan would love a 30 race season, right? It's just
I
like
don't
it's
I
tough to
I
do,
don't yeah, I don't
right?
expect them to do a 30
But even a few I would take any few more as they could throw
15. I
on.
would take 15 because you could realistically.
Double, just do some
So
double
I
headers.
love I love Peterborough. Peterborough is an awesome track.
Yeah.
I would think that for Pinties to go there full time again, they got to do a few little upgrades to the pits, the on the inside of the track. Um, I think you could see them at Flamborough again. I don't know why they're not going there. Because they used to race there all the time.
I know why, but there's it's not easy to get to
Issues.
some tracks in some
Yeah.
ways, but
Okay.
um,
It's great to see them go to Oshweekend. I'd love to, like we were talking about, a Kawartha would be sweet because they used to race there. There you go, Peterborough Speedway. Go to images, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Click on the first one
oh,
there.
I closed it because I don't need my search history showing. I just realized I don't need my search history popping up.
Oh,
Yeah, I closed
why?
it.
I can still see it.
Oh, that's like so there's a delay
Am
on
I
our
way
YouTube.
behind? Ah,
No, I
I was gonna
purposely
say you go
have
to
a
the
30
first one
second
there.
delay because it
There's
makes the internet work quicker. Or I'll pop
it's
up
a
my
good,
incognito mode.
it's a good, it's a good track. It's a really cool track. Yeah, wouldn't it be great to see them go to, um, Mont Tremblant? That'd be cool. It'd be cool to see them go to Gilles Villeneuve. It'd be cool to see them go to, man, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. I can't even think of them all right now. Calabogie, that'd be kind of cool. Um, used to go to Shannonville. That one's a little bit worse for wear, but a lot of those are road courses, right? And it's an oval series, and I expect them to be on ovals a lot. Um, it's great that I find that the Pinty series really does embrace the road course and street
Oh
course.
yeah, I
You know
love the
what's really funny
mix.
as I think about it right now. uh, they talk about NASCAR needs to do street racing because they've never gone street racing. Actually, we've been going street. NASCAR's been going street racing for a while up in Canada, with Toronto, and that's and Edmond. Didn't they race in on the streets in? Oh,
Yeah,
iCar is kind of a street course, and what's the other one? The one that Trois Rivières. That's a
yeah,
street course.
yeah,
They've raced there forever, right? So
yeah.
it's just
And
interesting
now the
that
dirt, so they got a nice
and now
mix on
they're
their schedule, and I
yeah.
props to them for coming out with that early. And there's also, there's I think there's a couple events too as well. If people check out our Facebook page at the WWMS of Facebook, we shared the APC and Quick Wick series. Some of those events I think that will be ran on the same weekend. There's a couple dates where you might be able to catch lots of racing. So there's other series too, other than NASCAR Pintys, that are going to be coming up with stuff. There's racing all over in Ontario with the APC series because Peterborough for Quick Wick is on June 18th, and NASCAR's to be determined is June 25th. Huh. There you go, Wallace. Maybe they'll be at Peterborough, but you'll be able
I
to
would love it.
see lots of racing this season, and Yeah, June 18th
Yeah,
too
we
for
should plug.
APC
We
as
should do
well.
a little. We should plug a little flow racing for the
Oh
give
yeah,
them some love for
and that's another thing
following
as we wrap it
Siri.
up here. Let's give some love to Flow Racing for coming into helping the NASCAR roots, which is the ARCA Menards East West Pintys Series, the uh, Auto Parts NASCAR Wheeling Series, or sorry, the modified Wheeling Series, and there's lots of series that are getting all their events streamed through Flow Racing. So welcoming Flow Racing into the NASCAR Pintys family, and
That's big time.
more eyes on the sport. I am happy with that, and another way to watch it. People can choose to watch it through the TSN in Canada. You can also do the Flow Racing here in Canada. Flow Racing more popular down in the States. But you know what? Hey,
Cover a lot of dirt.
another
A
way.
lot. They cover a
If
lot
you,
of dirt
if you
racing
think
down there.
about it, yeah, you get your bang. You're going to get to see some more racing too with that service. So something to consider. Hey, it's the holiday season. Maybe you want to get someone a Flow Racing gift card, and they're not even paying us, and we're telling them to. The two
Yeah,
listeners that we have to check out. Speaking of that, check us out every week here
one of them's me.
on our on a triple W dot and me too. The Wide World of Motorsports podcast.wordpress.com. Where through there you can see our esports stuff and other stuff that we're going to be working on as well in the future on that website. And our social media at the WWMOMS. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And on your favorite streaming service, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the odd stuff on Facebook Watch. So we're all over, and we'll be we're always streaming our stuff here, and you know we're going to be back.
We're gonna try to stream a little more.
We're trying to do a little more
streaming.
So coming up in the next few weeks, motorsports doesn't end. Does it feel like? Obviously, during the winter season here, there's a little bit of a break, but good time to get back into it slowly. So, but that is it.
Awesome.
We'll be back around the bend, folks.
We'll see you later.